Hey, this is Notser, and this is a look at the Adrenaline Rush skill. This is on the public test server 0.6.0, and this is the part 2. I chose the Bismarck because it has main battery, secondary battery, and it also has AA defenses. And the skill, as described in-game, increases reload speed of all armament as the ship hit points is reduced. And in this build, 0.2% improvement to reload time of all types of armament for each 1% of lost hit points. So in layman's terms, every 10% of hit points lost will grant me somewhere in the realm of 2% improved reload time. In the previous build of 0.6.0, it was only 0.1%, which would be 1% every 10% of hit points. So it doubled in effectiveness, and I definitely noticed it. Now the rest of the build, let me just describe it right now. I have the double Catapult fighter, and you'll see how nerfed Catapult fighter is, by the way. It's really bad. Expert Marksman. Expert Marksman is the faster turret traverse. At level 2 as well, we have the Adrenaline Rush. It's a 2-point skill. It's kind of cheap, honestly. It's worth it to me for some builds, and I'll talk about that. For my level 3s, I have basic firing training and vigilance. I'm going to be very aggressive. Basic firing training improves the rate of fire and AA protection of this ship in particular. The secondary battery is improved with basic firing training. Vigilance gives me more time to react to torpedoes. And then finally, for my level 4, I have the manual secondary, of course, and advanced firing training to increase the secondary range. And we're getting into B point. We have a couple friendly destroyers. This is the ideal scenario for the Bismarck. You want to be able to push forward aggressively and have the destroyer protection. And what else is ideal is the enemy has pulled a Notser right in front of you in order to try and avoid torpedoes, which he was unsuccessful. And unfortunately, I don't kill him. But he is now within secondary range. And I don't really care that I would take damage, as long as I can dish out the damage in this particular build. So I'm going to try and fire at the Pensacola. He's obviously backing up, and the island protects him, and the dispersion as well. But the friendly destroyers do take out the target. It does work out in our favor. Enemy Gneisenau is also in the area. And whoa. Enemy Farragut sends out his torpedoes. We easily spot it. We don't need hydroacoustic. I'm going to try and avoid it. He has one more set. If you know destroyers, he has one more set, and we're just waiting for the next set to come. Secondaries are doing work. Main battery's doing work. And if I can take out the Farragut, I could rotate around and take out the Gneisenau or work on it. And conveniently, the enemy has decided to engage me one at a time. That is a dream for any battleship. And our secondaries take out the target. Now the German secondary work basically like this. It has the best secondaries in the game. It has the highest rate of fire and with the most secondaries. So it's going to be putting out the highest DPS every 10 seconds compared to any other secondary battleship. It also is going to have the most range capability of your secondaries. And you need to stack everything. Advanced firing training. You need to get the module that improves the range. You also need to get the signal flag that improves the range. But once you can get it out to 10.6, you're really out there. The enemy Gneisenau, he's trying to rotate around the island, but we're a little bit faster. And I set him as my primary secondary target. It's very weird to say that like that, but that's basically what I did. And the German secondaries have a lot of HE potential. And a lot. Talking 8 to 10% per shot on most secondaries to set the target on fire. This is exactly what you do in the Germans. You go aggressively in, you have destroyer backup for those enemy destroyers, you take out all the destroyers that could affect the game, all the torpedoes, and once the torpedoes are gone, you just bully these guys out. And that's why Adrenaline Rush seems so good for the German battleships. They all do this. You're all big boys, and we're just raining secondary damage on the target. Fire damage as well. That is, for all intents and purposes, secondary damage. I'm not going to fire any HE with my main battery, and we take out the enemy Gneisenau with the fire. We get lucky. It wasn't sniped down. And I switch to the enemy Fuso, which is the next target. And conveniently, it's like magic, he's in range. So we don't need to do anything. Now, the capture area is about to hit, so I did want to sort of slow down and make sure I was going to capture it. We get a Citadel on the Fuso, which isn't surprising. He's not playing it as well as he probably could. He's out in the open, slow, and reverse. I fire at a broadside target. What can I say? We do sustain the first bit of hit point damage of the game. The rate of fire is normally 26 seconds. Now we'll see whenever we fire these guns, we're at somewhere in 25-second territory. I fire again, of course, at the waterline, and again we get a Citadel. And he's firing HE. Okay. 2 fires on the ship. We put it out. I'm not even going to worry about setting up my primary on the Fuso. He's going to be dead to my secondaries. I just want to make sure I'm open enough that my secondaries can fire on the target. I immediately transition to the New Mexico, who is also showing a broadside, and I fire at the waterline with the secondary setup. He fires as well. We get about 14,000, and he gets not anywhere near that kind of damage. And I already have 1 fire on the ship. Can I get another fire on the ship? Yes, I could get another fire on the ship. Another build that people have asked me, are you going to ever do the HEAP build on the German battleships again? And I don't know. It just is very expensive. This is probably better DPS, and we take out the target with our main battery. Secondaries they just do so much damage. So much damage. It really is impressive. The rate of fire on your main battery, your secondaries, your AA protection. What isn't impressive, though, is if you saw the Catapult fighter, it only lasts for 60 seconds. Yeah, it used to last for 5 minutes, and now it only lasts for a minute. It's a massive nerf to that particular skill, and I call it out, and you're going to see the double Catapult leave my ship. Just confirming that I am indeed using the double aircraft. And yeah, look at it. It's already 45 seconds. So the worst thing about this is by the time you get your second aircraft up, about 20 to 25% of the skill is already used up. That's just a massive nerf to the skill. And my AA was able to protect myself. It's got improved rate of fire. We're about at 70%. So 70% is 30% hit points lost. That should be about, what should that be? That should be about 6% improved rate of fire. Give or take, of course. On main battery, which I was checking it, the reload time does not update in real time. 26 seconds is not what the reload is going to tell you whenever I fire at this enemy battleship. And I am trying to cover ground quickly in order to fire at this enemy battleship. And I'm just looking around. Can I see the secondaries? Can I see the AA? No. This is just something that can't be quantified by a stat screen. You have to feel it in the improved DPS over a long period of time. Would I fail at my endeavor to take out the targets without adrenaline rush? Well, of course not. We absolutely blew up these guys. But if I'm going against a target with a equal build and maybe he has slightly worse DPS, I should be able to beat him. That 2 to 3 seconds is going to make a big impact over multiple main battery exchanges. I mean, come on, get around the island. I really want to engage this guy. He is just, obviously, he's moving away from me. He doesn't want to die to me. He's not looking at me, and he has a perfect broadside showing, so we're going to fire at the waterline. And I was set up to do tons of damage. Friendly did 15,000. I only did 5,000 with the Citadel. We earned Kraken Unleashed, and it's on to the Bismarck. How will this engagement go? Enemy torpedo bombers are coming in close proximity. It's always a good habit to target the aircraft whenever you recognize that they are indeed there. You get a little tiny DPS boost. It's something like 10%. I know that's pretty insignificant, Notser, but every bit helps. The enemy exchanges fire. I am bow on. I want to get into secondary range and then open up. I don't really care if I show my broadside. I want to get the most damage potentially on the target. He is pretty open as well, and his secondaries open up. My friendly appears to have run into the island next to me, or he's decided to stop right in front of me. Either way, he's just right next to me, and I'm going to open up and fire every bit. I don't care that he can engage me and get a full broadside. I just want to kill him. I have a huge hit point advantage, and I also have adrenaline rush. I don't know that he does. I'm going to use my heal, and you play it straight. You could theoretically just sit on the damage you've taken and allow your DPS to be increased. I could see that, but I'm not going to be cheeky like that. I'm just going to heal whenever I think I can heal, and DPS whenever I think it's the right time to DPS. And I was trying to go for the superstructure. Didn't really get anything. Thankfully, the secondaries are doing work, and he's got a lot of fires on a ship. Yeah, 3 fires on a ship, showing a broadside, and our rate of fire is somewhere in the realm of 23 seconds. That's pretty good. That, coupled with secondaries are improving as well, AA is improving. It's honestly a very good 2-point skill. You need to compare it to 2-point skills. For battleships, you basically have the 10% faster damage control. You have Jack of all trades, which is 5% faster consumable, and 5% is almost nothing by itself. You would want to get the signal flag to increase it by 5% again, so you could get your damage control, your heal, your aircraft, and hydroacoustic up a little bit faster. But I really like Adrenaline Rush. I like the changes. It's not crazy, but it is noticeable. I definitely notice that my rate of fire is increasing. I bet you I would be astonished by the secondary rate of fire, because the secondaries are probably, what, 4 to 8 second rearm cycles. If you're talking about taking 70% improvement, 70%, every 10%, I'm getting 2% faster reload, so 14% faster rearm. We're talking about getting the reload cycle down to 3 seconds on a 4-second, maybe. Almost there. That's pretty good. That is probably the most significant aspect of this for the Germans. Their secondaries are just going to rearm so fast to have higher chance to light the target on fire, higher damage per shot, because the more shots on the target, you're just gonna DPS is gonna go up, up, and up. Now, what other classes do you think Adrenaline Rush could be used on? I personally think that a destroyer is a good candidate, and the destroyers, they sit very low a lot of times, and they rely on their concealment to protect them. So we did okay. It felt great to play this game. Close Quarter Expert, Kraken Unleashed, High Caliber, 6 kills, 157,000 points of damage done, 2,000 base XP, even. That's pretty unbelievable that it was just 2,000 base. And as far as damage is concerned, we did 94,000 points of damage in our main battery, all AP, 25,000 in secondary, and then another 37 in fires, which, for all intents and purposes, that's secondary damage as well. So our secondary damage did 63,000 points of damage, roughly. It's pretty awesome. It felt really fun. And I think Adrenaline Rush is going to be the way to go on some of these German and destroyers. I hope you enjoyed this game. I hope you have a fantastic day. And I'll catch you next time.